Both teams won their respective semi-finals last weekend. CNS Neptune overcoming Trade House Central Ballincollig down in Ballincollig, and Garvey's Tralee Warriors making the very, very tough trip up to DBS Aina, Colosh Lane and Rathfarnham. And both teams coming away with wins against the head, let's say, Padraig. Both of the home teams earned their right to host the semi-final, but both of them got turned over on their home courts.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's probably the one thing going into those semi-finals is probably when you were travelling, it took a little bit of pressure off you because you probably weren't expected, to win. They were all saying the home sides were going to win it. Particularly, you would have to say the Neptune semi-final against Ballincollig. That was their first loss. It was a bad loss for Ballincollig, so Neptune are going to come out really on fire for the first couple of minutes here, and it's going to be up to the Warriors to get into their game early on.
Absolutely, I see the first five for the Warriors are already in place. There's Daniel Jacobitis, Darrow Hanlon, Owen Quigley, Keelan Crowe and Aaron Calixty. And for Neptune there is Cian Heafy. We have Ronald Gittins, Roy Downey, Alex Taradelis, and their most dangerous, versatile and really on top of his form at the moment, forward is Neil Sabata wearing 21. Padraig, an unusual style, this player, but a very special player.
Oh yeah, and if he gets going at all, he's very, very dangerous. Big game for Keelan Crowe as well, that's starting out for the Warriors, so interesting to see how they get on. The Warriors have won the
action already underway, and Warriors have won the tip-off. Aaron Calixty out the wing to Daniel Jacobitis, faced by Cian Heafy. Across he goes to Owen Quigley. Quigley now faced by Sabata. Quigley's going to open up for the first three of the night. It doesn't go, and Cian Heafy takes it down the court, plays Gittins into space. Sabata. Keelan Crowe just runs across Sabata's path, and the first foul of the evening is called, and it's called on number 9, Keelan Crowe, for Garvey's Tralee Warriors. Just inside the opening 20 seconds, 19 seconds to be precise. Neil Sabata will go to the line for 2 shots for Neptune. Very unusual style, Padraig, as well. You'll see now in a moment.
Yeah, it's
he does a sort of a one-handed flop, yeah, so the first one doesn't go.
He's a player you couldn't foul because his percentage would be poor. It's just very unusual what he does with it.
Absolutely, yeah, so second time lucky here for Sabata. Early days here. He lands the second of his 2 shots, and Neptune lead by 1-0 inside the opening minute here in Tallaght. Calixty up the right wing. Quigley reverses play out to Jacobitis. Quigley gets it on the return inside, backing into Gittins. Turnover ball, Warriors. Taradelis. Inside it goes to Cian Heafy. Outside, Roy Downey gets a good clean look at the basket for 3. They're not going to allow too many of those because Downey is a very good 3-point shooter, and he'd absolutely licked his lips when he planted his feet there, and the rest is pretty much history. The first 3-pointer of the night goes the way of Neptune. Here is Keelan Crowe. Owen Quigley now faced by Sabata. Daniel Jacobitis, he's miles out, but he's going to have a look. And why wouldn't he? Because he's just landed Warriors' first score of the night. Jacobitis from distance.
That's a great response.
He doesn't turn down too many opportunities like that, Padraig. He's a shooter on sight.
Yeah, both 3-point shooters got great looks at the basket and both nailed their early shots.
Absolutely. Sabata, Keelan Crowe is going to be called for a second foul. And that's concerning to the Warriors bench, I'm sure, straight away. Keelan with 2 fouls, very, very early days here, and Neil Sabata will go to the line again. So we've had Sabata to the line, missed 1, scored 1. He's back to the line for 2, and we've had 2 3-pointers, 1 for Downey, 1 for Jacobitis. 8:45 remaining in the opening quarter here in Tallaght, and here's Sabata, one-handed again. This time he's got the first one to connect. Neptune 5-3 with his second shot to come. Doesn't go. So 5-3. Sabata ends up on the floor as Jacobitis heads down the court. He's going to go for another 3 from distance. Doesn't go. Cian Heafy fires it down to Downey, and inside Sabata didn't come to the backcourt at all. He waited, and he was right because he got an open look at the basket. And unopposed, he lays up for a 2, and it's 7-3. So it's Neptune with a better start, Padraig.
Yeah, the Warriors need to get their offense going. They've had their 3, and they've had another shot from 3, but they can't keep shooting outside 3s all the time. They need to get something going under the board.
Calixty with another effort there, doesn't go. Sabata spinning, and he has started as he means to go on. another one for Sabata, and all of a sudden Neptune are 9-3 up. Just 2 minutes gone in the contest here. Calixty now out to the right wing, gets Darrow Hanlon on the move, back to Quigley to Calixty, faced by Gittins. Calixty now going round the arc, he's now faced by Sabata, fires it out to Quigley. Quigley's going to open up for 3, overshoots right as the shot clock was up. Here's Gittins out to the right wing, Roy Downey head down, back outside. Gittins going to have a go, off the rim, doesn't go. And here's Cian Heafy. We're back out in mid-court all of a sudden. Terry Dallas is going to leave it for Sabata, the busiest man on the court so far. Gittins, faced by Jacobite, is up the right wing. Roy Downey, looked like he stepped off his mark. Owen Quigley got a hand to it. Gittins, right on the buzzer. Score is good. Gittins for 2. 11-3, Padraig.
Yeah, good persistence by Neptune, and they're making their scores, and they're making the Warriors work very hard to get any opening at the other end of the court. They're going to really have to get something going here, because it's all outside shots, and that's not going to get them back into the game. They're getting nothing underneath the boards, and Calixty again.
And they're improvising as well. Here's Quigley from outside, inside and out. Doesn't go. Sabata pulls it down the left wing. Here's Heafy looking for the layup, doesn't go. Jacobite has shepherded him all the way to the basket there. Here's Quigley now up the left wing. Steps, leaves it to Darrow Hanlon. Darrow loves a 3-pointer. He's going for a 2 this time. It doesn't go. Warriors just can't land a score at the minute. Here's Cian Heafy out to Gittins. Tara Dallas back to Gittins in the corner. Gittins for 3.
You'd have to say, Alan, that's too easy, and a timeout call by...
And if ever there was a timeout about to be called, it was going to be called there, because John Dowling has hit the panic button and said we need to gather our troops and regather and refocus and reboot.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of the cup final. It's Neptune who've got the start that they wanted. They're making their shots, they're getting their fouls. They got a couple of very easy 3-pointers. They have plenty of room to throw them down. They got them. At the other side, the Warriors are not getting anything inside. It's all outside shots, and that's not going to work. They're going to have to find something underneath the boards to get back into this game, because they can't let that lead go. It's 11 points at the moment. I know it's 6:18 left in the first quarter, but that's a big lead.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I suppose the notable thing from the scoreboard as well, that the fouls are on the Warriors side of the board as well. So one for Darrow Hanlon and one for Keelan Crowe. I thought Keelan was actually called for the second one, but it's one each. So, but 2 fouls. And definitely Neptune in the ascendancy at the moment, Padraig.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to come up with. What are they going to switch up? Is John going to run some of his bench and bring on? He's going to stick with that starting 5 for a while, because they've had that poor start. But there's plenty of time left in the game. We won't be too negative yet. I mean, they get a couple of scores back, but Neptune are doing what they want to so far, and that's the start that they would really have dreamed of.
Absolutely. Sabata, their danger man, definitely starting the game in a rude vein of form. Roy Downey shooting the first 3 of the night as well. Gittins is busy, shot a 3 there just a moment ago, so definitely it's advantage Neptune just at this stage. But we have a restart.
Kieran Donnie's into the game.
Kieran Donnie is into the game, and that'll lift things in both defensively and possibly in offense as well. Here's Quigley now back to Calixty, back in mid-court, faced by Tara Dallas. Out the wing it goes to Daniel Jacobitis. He goes for a run, doesn't get high enough. Sabata pulls it down, and it looks like in following through, Kieran Donaghy's coughed up his first foul just into the action, and it is called on number 10 Green. The Warriors wearing their, I suppose, the unaccustomed fluorescent green outfits that they wore. It's been lucky so far for them. They won the cup in them, and they won the semi-final of the Super League last weekend, so maybe they are wearing the right kit for what's in store for this evening. But Roy Downey takes it into play for Neptune. Gittins, Downey gets it back, and Calixty busy in front of him. Sabata out to Gittins again. Sabata pulls up for a 2. Floater doesn't go. Here's Jacobitis, gets Calixty on the move now. A bit of dynamic movement, and Calixty, he ends up under the board, but he's landed a score. And all of a sudden Warriors have their second score on the board. They're up to 5, Neptune 14, but Roy Downey is after knocking down another 3. So whatever is happening positively for the Warriors at one end, Neptune are doing even better at the other. Here's Quigley now out on the right wing. He goes for a drive, against Sabata, floats it in for two. Beautiful by Quigley.
That is better though by the Warriors offense. At least they're making their scores inside and they're getting the looks at the board. Absolutely. And making two those, but they just got to stop those 3-pointers from Neptune.
Absolutely. Lovely finish by Quigley. Lovely floated finish. And it has breached the gap. It's down to 10 points and we're exactly halfway through the opening quarter. There's Taradelis. Taradelis' first score of the evening. Stretches the Neptune lead out to 12. Aaron Calixty now busy. Drops it to Darrow Hanlon for three. Darrow Hanlon, it's all action here. It's a mile a minute all of a sudden now. The game has lifted a couple of paces even since the opening hectic couple of minutes, and we're now into the second half of the opening quarter, and it is CNS Neptune 19, Garvey's Tralee Warriors 10. Roy Downey's going to have another look. This time it comes off the rim and Owen Quigley can capture it. Kieran Donaghy has to go to ground to retrieve it. He got Daniel Jacobitis now. Daniel bounce pass to Aaron Calixty out on the right wing. The Warriors have settled into their offensive pattern. Here's Calixty, he spots a gap and he's going to get to the board. And if Neptune open up like that, Padraig, Calixty won't be asked twice.
Yeah, that's much better from Calixty. He's getting in, he's getting through that defence, getting in and making easy scores. Just on that last rebound, the Warriors were lucky to get away with it because they almost turned it over, so they just got to be careful.
Here's Taradelis, refused the three-pointer. Darrow Hanlon, unfortunately, a bit of follow-through, has coughed up his second foul of the night. And we have subs coming up for CNS Neptune. Into the action for the first time comes Miles Washington, and also the player coach Colin O'Reilly. Sitting down is Rickard Gittins and Neil Sabata. So
Fergal O'Sullivan in for the Warriors.
Fergal is in as well. I see him over the far side now, so it's a little bit of all change here, and 7 points the difference between the sides. 3:52 remaining in the opening quarter, and out it goes to Roy Downey and Aaron Calixty out in mid-court. Here's Cian Heafy. Heafy pulls up for a two, drops it in. Good score for Cian Heafy, brings Neptune to 21, Warriors 12. Here's Calixty now. Donaghy now, surveying the scene, drops it inside. Jacobitis, very congested area there, but it looks like maybe Colin O'Reilly. It's not, it's 15. Miles Washington has coughed up his first foul, and maybe to the relief of the Warriors as well. They're looking at the bench, and it looks like maybe Nicola Rosso is coming into play as well, Padraig.
Yeah, he's getting ready to come in probably after the free throw. Daniel Jacobitis picked up a little bit of a knock there. He's limping, so hopefully he'll be able to walk that off. Thought it was shots, it's not. It's actually an inbound he has.
It is an inbound, yeah. So Nicola Rosso comes in, Jacobitis sits down, and Nicola Rosso will get his hands on the ball straight away. He was carrying a knock for the last couple of weeks, so we're delighted to see him back in Warriors colours. Here's Kieran Donaghy back outside Calixty. Calixty now to Rosso. Into the corner goes Fergal O'Sullivan, gets his first look at the basket. Quigley over the top of Heafy, rebounding, but it doesn't go, and it will be a Neptune restart through their player coach Colin O'Reilly. O'Reilly, of course, a veteran of games against the Warriors. He's faced them in three different colours, the colours of UCC Demons, Killorglin and now Neptune, so he knows this side inside out, and indeed they know him inside out as well, but nothing would give him greater pleasure than putting one over on the Warriors this evening. Calixty now, turnover ball by Neptune. Calixty thought about a three, instead he weaves his magic inside and pulls up for a beautiful three.
Yeah, it's much better.
That's a great score.
Yeah, Calixty's getting into the game now, and the Warriors have tightened up on their defence. They forced a couple of turnovers. Gap is down to 7 points, which is nothing.
Absolutely. 2:40 remaining. Roy Downey goes for a drive. Kieran Donaghy meets him, and it looks like, is that Kieran Donaghy's second foul of the evening?
That is the one worry for the Warriors, Alan. Sorry, they're on 4 fouls, and they can't keep giving away fellas getting on 2 and 3 fouls early at this stage. It's going to hurt them.
Well, they are on team fouls. Roy Downey will shoot for 2, and Kieran Donaghy's just coughed up a second foul, so maybe not exactly the introduction that Kieran would have wanted, but he's always at the business end defensively, so he always runs the risk of coughing up 1 or 2 fouls, but maybe not this early. Here's Roy Downey now taking his second. He's converted his first. 2:40 remaining, and the gap momentarily is out to 8, and it's just gone to 9, so 9 the difference. 23-14, and we have our Alex Taradelis is back in for Neptune, and we have a Warriors restart, and it's Calixty faced down by Heafy. James Hannigan is also into the action for Neptune. Here he is facing Owen Quigley. That looked like some degree of a foul, and it certainly was. Foul called on number 6, Cian Heafy, running into the back of Owen Quigley there, who was just looking for a little bit of space to manoeuvre. And we'll have an inbound restart, or a sideline start from Fergal O'Sullivan, and Cian Heafy's actually going to sit down on the back of that. High fives all his squad members going down the Neptune bench, which is right down in front of us. For those that were at the cup final, we had the Warriors down in front of us, but they are the home team tonight, so they're at the dressing room end. Here's Kieran Donaghy, and another foul being called, and that's the second foul in quick succession on Miles Washington. That may be key there, Padraig.
Yeah, and Rosso done well there. He got in his face and he just drew the foul, and that's what they need him to do, get in under the basket and start making himself big in there.
Absolutely. In it comes from Donaghy to Rosso. Calixte refused the three, instead gets it outside. Quigley opens up Fergal O'Sullivan. Fergal O'Sullivan loves those, but went off the rim and came out to Quigley on the rebound, and Nicola Rosso now is out in mid-court, gives it to Calixte. Fergal O'Sullivan thought about having a go again. He's faced by O'Reilly, busy in there, gets it to Calixte. Calixte again, weaves his magic, or thought he did, but turned over the ball. Down the left wing, Terradellis is going to pull up for a three. Doesn't go. Fergal O'Sullivan's there to rebound, and it looks like he's won a very important ball there, and it will be a Warriors restart under their own board. Fergal O'Sullivan, the first man back, and he secures possession for Warriors 9. The difference, 1:51 remaining. Warriors on team fouls. Cian Heafy is back in the sub seat. He's going to be back into the action in a minute for his player coach, Colin O'Reilly. 1:51 remaining, Padraig. Another score or two for the Warriors would be just what the doctor ordered here.
Yeah, interesting in the last couple of plays that Neptune are letting the inside open or letting the outside open if Warriors want to take the shots. They're not letting them get inside the paint and make easy scores.
That's right. So they're not refusing a chance to shoot anyway, that's for sure at the moment. Here is Nicola Rosso now. Oh, lovely pass. Donaghy. Oh, an absolute joy to see.
And the foul.
And the foul. That was a score that really Donaghy pulled out of the top drawer, falling, giving way to his side, hooks it in for two and pulls the foul as well. So it could be a 3-point score here, and this is exactly what the Warriors needed just shy of the quarter-time break, Padraig.
Yeah, definitely a great score by Kieran Donaghy. It looked like the foul had pushed him out, but somehow he managed to twist his body. Don't think there's many more players in the country could do what he did there.
Absolutely. 39 years of age. And there he is, adds the extra 17-23. We're down to a 6-point game here in Tallaght. Neptune now nestling on 4 team fouls as well, so their next foul will definitely be shots wherever it is on the court. Sabata is back into the action as well, and he gives it to Hannigan. James Hannigan now, bounce pass. Sabata cuts inside and receives the pass, lands the 2, 25-17. The gap is out to 8. Nicola Rosso hooking, doesn't quite go. Hannigan can take it away now. Terradellis actually down the right wing for Neptune. Back outside, he's going to Hannigan, into the corner it goes. And Cian Heafy has just stepped out of bounds. Maybe thankfully for the Warriors, and the Warriors supporters are really getting into it now. 1 minute and 3 remaining in the quarter. Looks like Jacobitis is coming back in for Quigley. And Quigley's going to get, or Jacobitis is going to actually get restart, and Rickard Gittins is also coming in for Miles Washington. So it's a mile a minute even to see what's going on here, Padraig.
Yeah, subs coming in. I think they're all afraid. The guys that have a couple of early fouls, they're all afraid of him drawing another foul before the end of the quarter. So that's why Washington sit down. He's on 2 as well, so they don't want him on 3.
Absolutely. Inside the final minute now of the opening quarter, and Calixte, faced by Hannigan, gets it to Rosso. Rosso now turns around and looks at Sabata. He sees Fergal O'Sullivan. Fergal O'Sullivan for 3. And at the third attempt, Fergal O'Sullivan lands his first 3-point score of the evening, cuts the gap to 5. 39 seconds remaining. Neptune on the attack here. Sabata out on the top of the arc. Gives it to Hannigan from miles out. Oh, he's off the glass and in for 3 as well. So a 3 either end of the court. The gap is back out to 8, and we're counting down to quarter time here. Nicola Rosso looks like he'll get in for his first score of the evening. And again, a mile a minute stuff. Rosso manages to keep it in play. Jacobitis out to Calixte. Calixte's going to slow it down. He's going to burn the clock. Jacobitis now. Jacko from distance. Jacko from distance for 3. This is helter-skelter. The gap is down to 3. Neptune from miles out. What a way to finish the quarter. scores galore, and Neptune leads. CNS Neptune 28, Garvey's Tralee Warriors 25. I'll have to catch my breath for a minute, Patrick.
Yeah, massive work by Rosso to win that inbound and keep that ball in play and turn it over and give Jacobitis the chance to make the score. The 3-pointer. Warriors will be delighted to be only 3 points down at the end of that, because it looked like at the start that they were really under pressure, but they certainly upped their defence. They tightened things up and they started making their scores inside. Rosso made a difference, Donny's made a difference as well. Kilixie's come into the game, so it's a very, very good second period of the first quarter for the Warriors. It's all to play.
Gittins is going to get us back underway. He's played it back to Roy Downey, who's faced by Calixte. Gives it to Sabata now. Sabata drives, turns around and looks for one of those that little shot he has, Padraig. It's a key factor in his game and it works most of the time.
Yeah, he's a player on a streak. When he gets a roll, he's very, very dangerous. He doesn't miss much, and tonight so far he's just missing very little.
Gap is out to 5 now. Sabata's first score. And we'll have a subs being called here by Neptune. The player coach Colin O'Reilly coming back into play. Cian Heafy will sit down, and Fergal O'Sullivan will get us back underway, the captain of the team, directly under the Neptune board, and he's going to fire it out to Calixte. Calixte out on the left wing, plays it back. Fergal O'Sullivan gets the return. Nicola Rosso, it's going around the houses here. Jacobitis looks like he's overshot. Ron Elksness is into play. Ron looks for the 2 under the board and gets it at the second attempt. Good score by Elksness there, Padraig.
Yeah, good hustle under the boards, because they had 3 attempts at that one and they won the 3 rebounds. So as soon as Elksness came in, Colin O'Reilly came back in to guard him. So 2 big boys underneath the basket.
Gary Walsh into the action as well for Neptune. He's on the ball now, gives it to Sabata. Sabata and Nicola Rosso, the clash of 2 big men there. Here's Gittins from distance, and Gittins lands his second 3 of the night. 33-27, the gap is 6. Just a minute played in the second quarter here. Nicola Rosso on the left wing, faced by Richard Gittins, tries to bounce pass it to Ron Elksness, doesn't go, and in the follow through Colin O'Reilly ends up on the deck, and it looks like we have a foul about to be called. Emma Perry, the referee, holding one finger in the air for Nicola Rosso, number 1 for the Warriors. 8:58 remaining. Nico's first foul of the evening. We'll see Colin O'Reilly restart, faced by Ron Elksness. Roy Downey on point guard duty, chased by Calixte now. Downey reverses it to Colin O'Reilly from miles out, doesn't go. Calixte's there to pick up the rebound under the board, and he takes off up to mid-court. Into the corner goes Fergal O'Sullivan for his second 3 of the night. O'Sullivan again. Fergal, brilliant 3-point shooter, not a man to give the ball to with an open look, Padraig.
No, definitely not, and he's nailing those, and that's really going to get Neptune thinking, because they're going to have to come out and guard him, which is what you really want them to do. So 3-point shooting is vital again in this game. Both sides are hot at the moment.
Absolutely. Gary Walsh now to Gittins. Gittins went for a baseline drive, gets open. Gary Walsh is wide open but doesn't go. His opposing number 4, Fergal O'Sullivan, rebounds. Not the first time this evening he's rebounded. Here's Calixte. Calixte now pulls back for a 3, and he's miles out. It doesn't go. It's up for grabs, and Roy Downey picks it off the floor, would you believe? Tries to play in Sabata with a bounce pass. Calixte on the move. It looks like he's alley-ooped it up. Doesn't go. Here's Daniel Jacobitis. All desperate stuff under the Neptune board at the moment. Calixte is going to just gather his thoughts, refocus, and try and get a play off the Warriors playbook. Here's outside it goes to Jacobitis, tries to bank it in, doesn't go. Colin O'Reilly now, and Ron Elksness has coughed off a pretty easy foul. They're not ones to give away, Padraig.
No, and you can see John Dowling is very frustrated, because Warriors had a chance on that quick break to take an easy score. They went for something spectacular. It didn't work, and you can't be doing that when you're in a game. You need to be making those scores when you get the chance. Timeout called by Colin O'Reilly. Timeout
called. They're down to a 3-point game, and look, it's in the melting pot and probably will remain so for some time, Padraig, but there has been a momentum shift back to the Warriors, but it's now gone back to a sort of an even Steven game.
Yeah, definitely, that's the way it's been going. But Warriors again will be happy after the poor start they had to be only 3 points down, and if they can get a lead into this game at all, it'll really change the momentum of the game, and it's beginning to look like they're getting back to where they want to be. But they have to take those easy shots when they got the chance, and the last one was a poor one, and then they gave away a cheap foul.
Absolutely. I'd like to shout out to a couple of people who are listening in this evening, to Pop and Rachel Lynch, who would normally be with us here this evening. They didn't travel to the game, but they are avidly listening in on Radio Kerry, so you're very welcome, guys. And also to Anne Doc Connolly and to Carmel Russell as well, one of the great Warriors fans, is also listening in live on Radio Kerry. I'd like to shout out as well to the St Brendan's under-14 team, who have won their second game this evening. They were playing in the AICCs, which are taking place up in Gormanstown. They lost their first game to Dublin Lions, but they got back in style by getting the better of Moycullen and Neptune in the third game, and they'll be into the playoffs tomorrow. St Mary's from Castle Island are also in that. They lost their first game, or they won the first game against Donegal Town, were beaten by Ulster University. I'm still awaiting the third game score there, but they'll also be in playoff action tomorrow. So the very best of luck to Brendan's and St Mary's in the AICCs tomorrow in Gormanstown. Now, back to the action we go. Sabata, Gittins for Neptune. 7.5 minutes remaining until the half-time break. Here's Sabata now. Over it goes to O'Reilly. Had a good think about a three-pointer, but instead reverses it back. Gittins is going to go for a three this time. O'Reilly with an impossible effort to rebound it, but his momentum has carried him in, almost leaning over Ron Elksness, coughing up a foul, and Colin O'Reilly with plenty to say to Jamie Dooley on the way by there, the referee. And Colin's first foul this evening, but he wasn't happy to take it, Padraig.
Yeah, that's not the first time he's ever rolled at the referees as well. So
you can say that again.
It's something he's well known for, but he picked up a silly foul. He's not happy with himself.
Absolutely. Calixty now outside the arc. He's going to play Fergal O'Sullivan. Fergal very prominent in the game so far. He's going to feed it out to Calixty. Calixty goes for a baseline drive, runs into Gary Walsh, and it looks like Gary Walsh has coughed up the foul. There was a moment, intake of breath there by the Warriors fans, whether Calixty had given away an offensive foul, but it will be an inbound start again by Fergal O'Sullivan, and Gary Walsh immediately sits down on the back of that, and Alex Terradellis, one of the Spaniards, along with Neil Sabata, comes back into play. Jacobitis, Aaron Calixty into the corner. Fergal O'Sullivan wasn't really expecting it, gives it to Ron Elksness now. Big battle with Sabata. Oh, Elksness gets the shot away. Sabata does the little travelling manoeuvre there just to confirm the fact that it was a travelling offence, and Neptune will win back possession under their own board. 6:53 remaining now in the second quarter. Subs again for Neptune. Subs on both sides in actual fact. Aaron Calixty, the point guard, will sit down, and Brandon Cotton, who has been an able deputy all season, Padraig, he's been impressive in his cameo roles, coming on, giving Calixty minutes on the bench.
Oh, he has, he's been very good when he's come off it, and he's fast and he can score as well. Neptune are very interesting as well. They're not giving away any fouls to cause free throws to the Warriors as well.
That's
if
right.
They're fouling them, they're inbound shots, and that's a move that's working for Neptune so far.
That's true. With Neptune on 3 team fouls, Warriors on 2. Here's Sabata for a little no-look pass to Downey. Outside it goes. Keane Heafy goes for 3, doesn't go. Quigley pulls it down and gives it to Brandon Cotton, his first touch of the ball this evening. Faced by Terradellis, out to the wing, out the left wing. Fergal O'Sullivan goes for a baseline drive, doesn't get high enough to get the shot away. Sabata pulls it down, and Downey down the right wing to Terradellis. Back inside, Sabata. Now Gittins. Terradellis is wide open. In and out it goes. Who's there? Jacobitis pulls it down for the Warriors as he runs by the Warriors faithful in the bleachers. It's up for grabs. Quigley reaching. It looks like Keane Heafy, is it, that's coughed up a foul there? It is indeed. Keane Heafy trying to reach for the ball over Owen Quigley, but illegally so. And he's coughed up his second foul of the evening, bringing Neptune to 4 fouls. So with 6 minutes remaining in the quarter, Warriors can drive away now, because every single foul is going to be shots after this. So Brandon Cotton back outside. Fergal O'Sullivan from miles out has a go. Quigley following up. He's under the board. Is he going to get away? Sabata does a great job guarding his own basket. Here's Brandon Cotton. Baseline drive, goes all the way around, gets Jacobitis open from outside, off the inside of the rim, doesn't go. Terradellis switches right down in front of us here. Gittins, or to Gittins, to Roy Downey in the corner, looks to play it off Jacobitis. Has he done it? And Emma Perry says yes. Jacobitis and Roy Downey exchange a few pleasantries there, Padraig. I'm sure they're just asking each other how the game is going.
Yeah, I think there was a little difference of opinion there on both sides, but it's Neptune ball.
Neptune ball, 3-point game. Ron Elksness sits down as well.
interesting as well, when Neptune are going for the free throws, the rest of their players are dropping back. They're allowing the Warriors to win those rebounds if they come off, but their defence is in place for any quick breaks.
That's it, yeah. They're not going to allow an uncontested layup anyway by the looks of things. Here's Heafy, reverses it back out, or so he thought, but Fergal O'Sullivan was standing in his way. Into the corner it goes. Brandon Cotton, baseline drive, brave as ever. Met Colin O'Reilly though and coughed up the ball. Here's Roy Downey. Oh, stopped mid-flow. Looked like he almost stepped off his mark. Colin O'Reilly gives it back to Downey, and he's going to drive. And there's an easy 2 for Downey. And he brings Neptune to 35, Warriors 30. Brandon Cotton hands it to Fergal O'Sullivan out in the corner. He's going to bring it back to Donaghy. Jacobitis. It's gone all the way around to Owen Quigley, right down in front of the Warriors fans. Quigley now. Quigley looking for a bit of space. Pass didn't connect. Rickard Gittins was waiting in the wings, and he says thanks very much and heads down the court. He stops, looks for reinforcements, and here's Colin O'Reilly. Roy Downey now, faced by Fergal O'Sullivan. Oh, Roy Downey just spills the ball out of his hand. Here's Brandon Cotton. Jacobitis now going to the board. Gets high enough, but nowhere near the basket. Rickard Gittins tried to play the ball to Tara Dallas. He wasn't expecting it. And it looks like the ball was a Warriors ball, but I think Brandon Cotton tried to catch it and he's put it out of play.
Yeah, I think he could have left to go and he would have won the ball, but he just went for it.
Should have left it go, yeah. It was right down in front of John Dowling there, so I'm sure John wasn't too impressed. But here is Alex Terradellis, leaves it for Colin O'Reilly. O'Reilly out the left wing, it goes to Roy Downey. O'Reilly now gets Gittins on the peel and he goes to the board. Donaghy does a great job of getting a hand up in the air, making it hard for Gittins. Score doesn't go. Here's Brandon Cotton up the right wing now for Warriors. Bounce pass into the corner. Quigley backing his way into the danger zone. Here's Brandon Cotton, fancies a 3, doesn't. He goes, puts the shoulder down and drives, and he has coughed up the ball as well to Tara Dallas, who leaves it for Colin O'Reilly. Frees Roy Downey from the spot that he got the opening 3 from, but it doesn't go this time. 5 points the difference. 3:30, 3.5 minutes to half time, and Quigley just leaves the ball for Jacobitis up the left wing, faced by Downey. Brandon Cotton scores hard to come by all of a sudden for both sides. Here's Darrow Hanlon. Defense is the call from the Neptune crew. Here's Quigley from miles out for 3. And just when I said they were hard to come by, Quigley just says, take that.
Yeah, it's a huge score because it didn't look like they were getting anything inside, and Neptune had gone back into crowding things underneath the basket and crowding it in the paint, but that's a one that's really tightened up. There's only 2 points in the game now, and straight away a timeout called.
Well, look, in the semi-final down in Neptune, it was a vital part of the game. Warriors against DBS Aina in the Cup, and literally Aina invited the Warriors onto them late on to shoot the ball, and little did they reckon without the prowess of Fergal O'Sullivan, who put 3 straight into the basket, one better than the other, Padraig. So anybody who's going to get an open look tonight is going to have a crack by the looks of things.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing that the Warriors are going to have to do, they're going to have to stop making unforced errors. That one that Brandon Cotton let the ball go. They had a couple of shots as well that they just didn't make the layup. So if they can cut that out of their game, they probably would have been in front at this stage. But again, only 2 points in it, 3:15 left in the half. Both sides will be happy where they are at the moment because that gap that Neptune had early on, that's gone. So it's all really game on here.
Despite the fact that Neptune had the better of the starts, I don't think that both teams are fully into their full flight just yet, Padraig. We've had a game in snatches, but it hasn't really taken off as a contest just yet, you know?
Yeah, there's a huge amount of pressure, I think, on both sides really want to win this one. I know they say the cup is the big one, but none of the two sides want to lose this one, and there's that nerves of a final. It's in the arena, there's a huge crowd, so there's a lot of pressure on both sets of players as well, and it's manifesting itself on some of the efforts, some of the shots. But
absolutely. Well, we'll have 3 scores from each side in the second quarter, 2 threes and a score from inside a piece. So even Stevens in the quarter so far, but most importantly on the board is Neptune that lead by 2, and they're on the ball now at the moment. Cian Heafy, Roy Downey pulls up for a 2 inside, doesn't go, and Quigley and Rosso argue over who's going to pull it down. It's eventually Quigley, and he leaves it to Brandon Cotton, who just needs to step into Neptune territory. Out to the left wing it goes. Kieran Donaghy now faced down by Cian Heafy. The two players that are coming together notably in the Cup, and a bit of a difference opinion that day. So Nicola Rosso tries from outside, doesn't go. Tallaght feeds Roy Downey back outside. Cian Heafy has a very clean look at the basket for a three. He was able to plant his feet and take his time and eye up his shot, and the rest is history. Just arced it in for a lovely three and pushes the Neptune lead out to 5. Here's Donaghy now, drops it into Quigley. Quigley drops it equally into Rosso, and if the Warriors are to get the ball to Rosso in that position, he is an emphatic scorer.
I think it
looks like he has. We have a technical foul called on Nicola Rosso. So for some unknown reason, Nicola Rosso said something to the referee coming down. You didn't see any of that, Padraig?
He thought he was fouled after he made the shot. He was knocked to the ground, so I think he more fell then, but he looked like he thought he was fouled, and he'd a word with the referee as he was passing, and she didn't take too kindly to it, and that's another silly.
That's a technical foul, and it's not a great result, because with that Roy Downey gets to shoot one and Neptune have possession as well. So 2:07 remaining, and Neptune can just cushion their lead a little bit before the half-time break. Roy Downey shooting the one, it doesn't go, but Neptune will have possession from the halfway line. Cian Heafy will get us back underway just inside the half. 2:07 remaining in the half, the second quarter, and it is Neptune by 3. Cian Heafy runs straight into Nicola Rosso, and that is a foul called on number 6. It was probably as blatant a foul as you get, Padraig.
Yeah, I think he just reckoned that Ross had been called on one. He might get a bit of sympathy from the referees, but that wasn't going to happen.
Absolutely, he put the big man, the Warriors' big man, right on the flat of his back. And he will sit down for his troubles as well, Cian Heafy. He might just have to think about that for a minute. Calixty now breaking away for Warriors. He has Tallaght for company, goes left to Donaghy, bounce pass inside. Quigley backing in, Nicola Rosso back outside to Darragh O'Hanlon. Calixty pulls up for a 2, in and out as they say. Colin O'Reilly frees Roy Downey and feeds it out to Rickard Gittins. Gittins going for a baseline drive, tried to hook it back in, but Owen Quigley was there and a bit overzealous in trying to stop the American from getting to the board, and he's coughed up 2 fouls. 2 free throws, I should say. Gittins will shoot for 2, 1:43 remaining. And we can pause for a little bit of a breath, Padraig.
Yeah, Ross has been doing more damage when he's inside. That last play again, he found himself outside, so they need to get him back in the paint under the basket and cause trouble inside there, because that's where he's going to be dangerous.
Absolutely. Gittins steadied himself on the free throw line directly in front of us here from our commentary position. Gittins, no problem with the first one. Pushes Neptune out to 39, Warriors 35, 1:43 remaining. Second free throw to come. Takes his time, spins the ball. Each player has their own little pre-free throw routine, and Gittins definitely works because he's landed 2 from 2. Brings Neptune to 40, Warriors to 35, 1:39 remaining. Kieran Donaghy now has his hands on the ball. Nicola Rosso out at the top of the arc. He's going to feed Calixty. Nicola Rosso providing a screen momentarily, but goes into the corner now. Darragh O'Hanlon. And Colin O'Reilly wins the rebound over Kieran Donaghy's head. It goes to Rickard Gittins. Gets O'Reilly now. O'Reilly, Gittins from a miles out, goes for the 3. Calixty's there to collect. It doesn't go. Calixty now surveying the scene, faced by Tallaght. Kieran Donaghy, oh, lovely little manoeuvre inside, gets it to Calixty off the rim, and Gittins, and it looks like Tallaght puts his hand in the air and he's going to just slow things down. Goes down the left wing, feeds it inside to Sabata and onto Roy Downey. Tallaght gets it back, faced by Darragh O'Hanlon. It opens up for Sabata, big rejection. Owen Quigley, brilliant defence from the Irish international. Calixty now waving his way, opens up Darragh O'Hanlon for a 3. Darragh O'Hanlon with a brilliant 3, just what the Warriors needed in the shadows of the post of the second quarter here, Padraig. Brilliant score.
Yeah, it came off a huge block as well at the other end, so that's a huge one. If they can draw level at all here, it would be great.
Downey pulls up for 2. Makes its mind up eventually to drop in, and Neptune push out to 4. And we're inside, to counting down 10 seconds to half time. Calixty, He'll definitely get a shot away, but what colour it'll be, we don't know. Here's Nicola Rosso. Rosso, what has he done? He's travelled just when he took off to drive to the board. Again, a frustrating turnover there for the Warriors. Possession with 3.7 seconds. Now they've handed Neptune the initiative to get a shot away. They won't need to waste a single point of a second here. Gittins is going to pull up from miles out. What has he done? Oh, off the rim, right on the shot clock buzzer. And at half-time here in Tallaght, CNS Neptune lead Garvey's Tralee Warriors 42-38. A word before we hand back to studio, Padraig.
Yeah, look, the Warriors are going to have to cut out the silly mistakes. Rosso had a chance there. He travelled, gave them a shot. If they can do that, they're right in this game. But it's down to the melting pot. It's going down to the wire, and it's going to be a nervous second half for everybody here. But Warriors right back in the game, only 4 points down at half-time.
Well, 9 weeks ago we were here for the National Cup final. Warriors led by 15 at half-time. It's half-time in the Super League final, and it's CNS Neptune 42, Garvey's Tralee Warriors 38. The scores for the Warriors are in Calixty, Fergal O'Sullivan, Darrow Hanlon and Daniel Jacobitis, all with 6 points in the first half. For Neptune, Cian Heafy with 5, the captain Roy Downey top scoring with 12, Neil Sabata with 10 and Rickard Gittins with 10. So that's the way the scoring spread went in the first half. We'll see what happens in the second, because it's just underway here in Tallaght, and it is Warriors in possession. Daniel Jacobitis plays it into the corner. Kieran Donaghy gives it back outside to Calixty. Into the corner goes Darrow Hanlon. First shot of the half, pulled down dramatically by Rickard Gittins. Feeds it to Roy Downey. Throw it again. He stepped slightly off his mark there. Here's Sabata with his little hook shot. Doesn't go. Darrow Hanlon rebounds and gives it to Calixty down the left wing for the Warriors. Turns back in court and gives it to Quigley and gets Donaghy on the move round the arc. Here's Calixty. Had to think about the three, thought about it, went again, and it doesn't go. Gittins again under the board for his second rebound. Here's Heafy. Taradelis. Aaron Calixty just literally collided straight into the Spaniard and put him sitting on his backside just out of bounds, and it will be a Neptune restart right in front of, just down from the Warriors faithful there. But first foul of the second half going the way of Aaron Calixty. Here's Rickard Gittins now, faced by Owen Quigley. Quigley, as I said, the only man on the court who has, for the Warriors, who has managed the double of the league and cup in the same season. He did it with UL Eagles in 2012. Here's Sabata, winging his way right under the board. The score is good. Emma Perry points down, and Sabata's score right on the buzzer is good. And Calixty trying to get to the board there is pulled down by Cian Heafy, and Cian coughs up a foul, and I think this is going to be Cian's third foul.
Colin O'Reilly on his feet again at the referees. That's something that you don't like to see. I know it's just part of his game, but
absolutely,
you can't have it on one side and not let the other side do it.
No, it's all action down in front of us again. And Cian Heafy, I thought it was Heafy was fouled, but they seem to be contesting it for some reason. And Cian Heafy is actually on his fourth foul. That's probably why there's such consternation there, Patrick.
Yeah, I think that's what they're arguing about. But I mean, the referees made the call, and it's okay to have a little discussion, but you can't have a coach jumping up and down on the sideline. It's something, we don't like in any sport. I think the foul is going to stand.
Foul is going to stand, and Calixty will shoot the ball. 8:50, just a minute and 10 gone in the third quarter here in Tallaght. Calixty standing over. His first free throw, here he goes. First one doesn't go. Lines up for the second now. Early stages of the second half here. Cian Heafy's arguing the toss again with Jamie Dooley over there, you can see, Padraig. So I think he'd be best placed to just let it lie at this stage.
Yeah. 1 out of 2 again, the Warriors. That's one that less than they should have had. They can't keep making those, not taking the chances, the opportunities they're getting. So hopefully they won't come back to haunt them later on.
Absolutely. Downey to Sabata. Here's Cian Heafy now. Man who's been very busy in the last minute. Rickard Gittins goes for the shot from outside. It doesn't go. Donaghy is there to pull it down. Donaghy rebounding. That's not the last time I'll say that this evening. Here's Calixty stepping back for a 2. Doesn't go, contested inside. Jacobitis. And Jacobitis has very cleverly pulled the foul off Neil Sabata by the looks of things. And it is indeed against 21 blue.
Yeah.
Very clever, Padraig.
Yeah, that's what the Warriors need to do. They need to get into those tussles underneath and be clever and win those fouls.
Well, Jacko is going to go to the line for a couple of shots. 8:18 remaining in the third. First one just creeps in. Second one coming up, and the game very, very nicely balanced. 44-40 it stands here with Jacobitis' second free throw to come, and here he goes. Doesn't go. Trying to get his own rebound, flying through the air, but Neptune pull it down and get the ball away, and Alex Taradelis gives it to Neil Sabata. Rickard Gittins, Roy Downey into Sabata. Now Sabata faced by Owen Quigley. Sabata tries again one of his hook shots, doesn't go, and as I said, not for the first or last time this evening, Kieran Donaghy rebounds and feeds Quigley at the top of the arc, gives it to Calixty on the left wing. Jacobitis just lobs it into Quigley. Quigley a bit stuck for space, reverses it out to Calixty. Now Calixty in 3-point territory. What's he going to do? He gives it to Quigley in the corner. Quigley! Owen Quigley for 3. And that is an inspirational score for the Warriors. Brings the gap back to a single point here. Neptune 44, Warriors 43. And Quigley on the mark from the corner with the toughest shot in the game. Here's Heafy, Sabata. Taradelis plants his feet and he's going to have a go for 3. Doesn't go. Here's Quigley, pulls it down. And Calixty, and a little momentum shift to the Warriors, Padraig.
Yeah, definitely a chance here.
Here's
for the
Jacobitis. Jacobitis doesn't go. Taradelis. Rickard Gittins goes all the way around the houses to give it to Downey and opens up Taradelis on the wing. It doesn't go, and again, Donaghy. It's like he's almost waiting on duty there, and another kind of silly turnover the ball by the Warriors. Aaron Calixty just took his eye off the ball for a split second and just put it out of play. Nicola Rosso is going to come in. Kieran Donaghy is sitting down after a busy couple of minutes. Again, there's action on and off the court here, Padraig.
Yeah, and it's both sets of players. They're looking a small bit tired as well. They've had huge long seasons, and it's really becoming, as seen now at this stage of it, it's really going to dig deep to get to the win on this game.
Absolutely, a war of attrition we're expecting now. Here's Sabata, feeds Downey, Gittins again. Gittins reverses it, and they've run out of time. Shot clock violation, and that, for some teams and in the context of a game, can be as good as a score.
Absolutely, gets the crowd back in behind the Warriors again, and if they can make the score here, it'll give them a lead for the first time in the game, and that'll be a huge shift.
Absolutely, and off to go down the left wing, Darrow Hanlon. Now Nicola Rosso, the battle of the two big men, Sabata, and Nicola Rosso steps out over the baseline, surrenders possession, and Colin O'Reilly, the player coach for Neptune, will restart. Bounce passes it to Alex Taradelis. 6:25 remaining in the third quarter here. Taradelis feeds Sabata back to O'Reilly. Roy Downey faced by Calixty inside. Sabata now opens up. O'Reilly thought about the 3, gave it to Taradelis instead. Taradelis, Sabata, what's he going to do? Does his little manoeuvre, right-handed, and just floats it in for 2, brings Neptune to 46, Warriors 43. Calixty from miles out. Rebound, Darrow Hanlon under the board, and Darrow Hanlon for 2, and the gap is back to 1, 45-46. Miles Washington coming into the game very shortly for Neptune, not just yet, he's in the subs chair, he'll be in momentarily. Neil Sabata, Colin O'Reilly faced by Quigley, drops it into Sabata. Sabata now, he's all the tricks of the trade. Here he goes with another one of his floaters. And he's pulled the foul from Daniel Jacobitis, who's arguing his case as well.
The foul is on number 12, Daniel Jacobitis.
Against Jacobitis, yeah. Sabata, he's dangerous in there, Padraig, isn't he, all day?
Yeah, he's just impossible to guard because you don't know what way he's going to do it and how he's going to float them in. Again, when he gets on a streak, he's dangerous. But again, we're back to watching this one-handed kind of free throw to see how he's going to be. But anybody said basketball is a non-contact sport or want to be under the paint on both sides here tonight, because there's an awful lot going on. That's why you want 3 referees.
That's absolutely, maybe 4. And Sabata one-handed First one doesn't go. First one doesn't go. Emma Perry puts one finger in the air, bounces it back to Sabata. He'll have a second attempt again with this unusual, almost unique style, one-handed, and it hasn't paid dividends there at all. None from two for Sabata. Score remains CNS Neptune 46, Garvey's Tralee Warriors 45. Defence is the call from the Neptune fans inside. Nicola Rosso. Rosso now thought about pulling up for a two, gives it out to Quigley now. Quigley trying to weave his way in, loses possession. Sabata says thanks very much and gives it to Terradellis. Oh, Nicola Rosso gets a hand in. He's claiming that he got all ball. Referee claims he got a bit of Terradellis, so it is a foul. And subs called. Gary Walsh coming into the action. For, we'll see in a minute, Terradellis.
But again, Alan, another offence where the Warriors didn't even get a shot off, and that's killing them, because they're fighting so hard on defence and then coming down the court. And
just prior to that, the Neptune ran out of time, so it's anything can happen quarter here at the moment, Padraig. Gary Walsh now, bounce pass. Colin O'Reilly opens up Roy Downey. He likes these, in and out it goes. Owen Quigley waves everybody down the court. He says, I'm going to take it down. Calixte, he hands it to him, the original point guard, and he tries to get it on the return. Bangs his chest and just says, how did that happen? Just took his eye off the ball just for that split second. Fergal O'Sullivan, the captain, is back in. The entire Warriors bench is on its feet.
I think the Warriors just need to settle it down when they are on offense and just, take the shots when they come and run the clock down, because they're getting a little bit snatchy at the moment and they're making mistakes.
They're snatching their shots all right again. Here's Gittins now. Or Miles Washington actually pulls up, doesn't go. Nicola Rosso leaves it for Owen Quigley. Quigley now in Neptune territory. Calixte, Rosso now leaves it for Daniel Jacobitis. Jacobitis pulls up for a two. Colin O'Reilly, easiest rebound of the night for him, gives it to his captain Roy Downey. Bounces it to Miles Washington, faced by Jacobitis. Gary Walsh is wide open for three. And really, he wasn't going to miss from there. He had about 2 seconds to right himself. The gap is out to 4. Calixte thought about paying back the three with interest. Nicola Rosso in trying to manoeuvre into position.
Rosso struggling with a hand injury, picked it up earlier on. Every time he gets a chance, he's trying to shake it out. So
yeah,
he must have got a bang on the fingers or something earlier on.
He's holding on to it, and we have a timeout called as well. Jacobitis heading for the bench. The game with 4:05 remaining, 4-point game, Padraig. Again, I said about the melting pot, it's probably in it and well in it at this stage.
Oh, absolutely. And when you look at the score now, any team that would reach 70 points, they take it at the moment to win it. So it's going to be just, as you said, a war of attrition all the way from here to the finish. It's going to be very, very hard on defence, and then you're going to have to make the offences when you can. And just Warriors need to maybe get in front once and just rattle Neptune, because every time they get down to the 1 point, Neptune manage to get the next score, and they just open up that little gap, and it would be a shame to lose it in the finish. It just does 1 or 2 points, but plenty time left. There's 4:05 in this quarter.
Well, we can see again Colin O'Reilly down in front of us, and he's barking the orders again. The player-coach role is one that there's much debate about, is whether a player can play and coach at the same time. Colin's been at it for quite some time at this stage, Padraig. One of the veterans of the game, but probably one of the most decorated players in the game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's very few players can do it like he can do it, and he has his staff on the line as well, and he has plenty of players with him. But it's a very, very hard role, but something he's so used to now. I don't think he could do anything else. So.
That's true. On the other end, we look up at the Warriors bench, and they're all just about to give their 1, 2, 3 Warriors, and John Dowling has said his piece for the timeout, and on they come to the court. Fergal O'Sullivan, Kieran Donaghy, Nicola Rosso, Owen Quigley and Aaron Calixte. That's the way they line up as we move into 4:05 remaining in the third quarter, and we'll have Nicola Rosso going to the line. 4-point game again. Evenly poised here. Both teams on 3 team fouls each. Nicola Rosso straightens up. First one goes.
Yeah, very important. He makes the 2 of these and got the first one.
Absolutely, yeah. First one goes. 46-49. Rosso now, again, his little pre-free throw routine. And here he goes. Floats it in. Goes in off the rim, but they all counted. It's down to a 2-point game, and just on 4 minutes remaining now. in quarter 3 here in the Super League final. In our broadcast sponsored by Garvey's, here's Gary Walsh. Sabata one-handed. He's actually throwing his shots now one-handed, Padraig. Here's Owen Quigley. Gives it to Donaghy on the move. Down the corner it goes. Aaron Calixty steps back. Faced by Roy Downey. Rosso goes into screen. And we have a foul called, and it may be called on Roy Downey there for... Yeah. It is indeed a moving screen there. He wasn't in position. And he took Rosso pretty much out of the game illegally there, so it will be a Warriors restart. 3:38 remaining. Inbound, and Nicola Rosso will start himself. Calixty all the way across. Quigley fancies this from distance. Tips the edge of the rim. Didn't really give it enough. Gary Walsh up the middle of the court now for Neptune. Out to the right wing. Miles Washington goes for a baseline drive and gets there for 2. Good score. Padraig brings Neptune past the 50-point mark.
Yeah, big score again. When the Warriors had the chance of tying the game, they go down, they get a score to put themselves back open again.
Calixty now weaving his way around. Emma Perry spotted something. Foul is called on number 4, blue, Gary Walsh. His second foul this evening. Miles Washington sits down. Rickard Gittins comes back into play. The gap is 4, 3:09 on the clock, and Calixty will go to the line for 2. And again, we take a breath. It has been helter-skelter from the start here, Padraig, but again, there's a team about to go on a decisive run, I feel.
Well, Neptune in foul trouble here again, so if Warriors can just run at them and keep drawing the fouls, that's what's going to make them pay. Calixty makes those. If you make another one, back to a 2-point game.
First one goes. 3-point game as it stands. Second one goes as well. Calixty's an incredible free throw taker. Here's Colin O'Reilly. He's playing point guard now, Padraig. Here's Gary Walsh now.
Yeah, it's just one of those games where fellas are popping up everywhere.
Absolutely. Sabata now ran straight into Rosso. Put Rosso on the flat of his back. The Warriors fans were expecting an offensive foul. It wasn't called, and Sabata finishes it off.
Yeah.
So what could have been a foul against Neptune turns out to be a 2-point score. Nicola Rosso now will be fired up by that. Feeds it inside. Quigley off the back of the board, and in it goes for 2. And a steadying score for the Warriors. And Warriors break the 50-point mark, and it's a 2-point game. 2:28 remaining. Neptune now. Rickard Gittins. Gittins goes to the board. Chaperoned by Owen Quigley, but illegally so. And the foul would be called on number 24, green, Owen Quigley. And that is Owen's just his second foul this evening, so nothing to worry about there at the moment. Warriors on 3 team fouls, most notably Padraig. Neptune now in team fouls, 2:22 remaining. Really, the Warriors' turn to really just drive at them now.
Yeah, again, they have a chance here, don't Neptune, of putting another 2 points between them, and the Warriors just can't close that gap and get level, and that's just the one fear you have. Those little things seem to go the way of the Neptune at the moment, so they need to start swinging in the Warriors' favour.
Gittins now goes to the line for his 2 free throws. Coughed up by Owen Quigley. Gittins wiped its feet but went in. His first effort, wearing the number 13 for Neptune. Shaping up now for his second to put 4 between the sides again. And that's exactly what he does. 55-51, 4-point game, and we have subs called on the Neptune side, and Miles Washington comes into play. And Gittins, after landing 2 from 2, will sit down. High fives all the way down his bench and sits down. Comes back up to about mid-division on the bench. Here's Calixty. No look pass to Rosso from distance. O'Reilly is there, gratefully receives. Now Colin O'Reilly looks like he may have drawn probably the easiest foul of the night there. Kieran Donaghy just sort of leaned into O'Reilly, and that's a cheap one to give away, Padraig.
Yeah, it's very clever by O'Reilly. He kind of made the referee's mind up for him. I'm not even sure was it, but it's one of those things where the referee was looking at it, he saw it in favour of Neptune. And that's what I'm saying, they're getting those little breaks. They have a chance here now to extend the lead again out to 6, and Warriors have to fight back again.
Nicola Rosso sits down for a moment. Notably now, that's the 5th team foul for the Warriors. So instead of being in mid-court, it'll be 2 free throws, and Colin O'Reilly, prolific scorer from inside and outside the arc, lands the first of his 2 free throws. And it'll be interesting to see just maybe how decisive this is as we head down the stretch here in the third quarter, because if he lands this one, it's going to push Neptune out, and he does exactly that to a 6-point lead, 57-51. And is that in some ways decisive, Padraig?
Well, it's a big lead in the context of this game because there's been nothing between the sides, so vital possession here for the Warriors. They have to score, and this one to close the gap.
Donaghy, here he goes from distance, doesn't go. O'Reilly pulls it down at the second attempt. Owen Quigley almost coughed up a foul there, but O'Reilly back outside. Quigley made the ground back up. He feeds Calixty. Calixty was just off balance.
Surely he was pushed on the way into
illegally
that.
So there. Gary Welch was chasing him back, and all of a sudden Calixty was almost sort of floundering towards trying to catch the long pass from Quigley, but it wasn't given. And Neptune will get a restart under the board. Roy Downey, the captain, sits down, and into the action again, Alex Terradellis. Cian Heafy now for Neptune. 1:40 remaining now in the third quarter. Both teams on team fouls. O'Reilly faced by Donaghy. Again, that's not the last time I'll say that this evening either. Welch out to O'Reilly from 3-point territory. Doesn't go. Jacobitis. Had that gone in now, that might have been a different finish to the third quarter, but rimmed out, and Warriors are in possession. Quigley, Aaron Calixty, faced by Alex Terradellis. Fergal O'Sullivan, one of the shooters, is in again. Here's Donaghy. Calixty from miles out. Oh, sensational! Calixty from an imperial mile out, and he has bridged the gap back to a 3-point game. An absolute cracking score, Padraig.
Yeah, it's a huge score. I'd say a little bit of frustration after the last one. I didn't get on top of it, and he certainly proved it there. So big score.
Terradellis now for Neptune. Colin O'Reilly momentarily ended up on the ground. Terradellis surely has travelled there. Not given. O'Reilly. Washington be lucky to keep it in play. Here's Jacobitis. Oh, big rejection. Following up, Fergal O'Sullivan doesn't go. Gary, was it over the? It was. It was over the rim.
No, I think he's calling.
Was it over the rim?
He's calling a technical on.
Technical
Jacobitis.
called on Daniel Jacobitis, who is calling that the ball was illegally stopped over the rim, and the technical. Daniel Jacobitis now actually being just held by Fergal O'Sullivan and Kieran Donaghy just to calm him down a little bit. Technical has been given to Daniel Jacobitis. That means we'll have Colin O'Reilly back to the line again. He doesn't miss many of these.
No.
And he certainly hasn't on Neptune. Will maintain possession. Emma Perry throws it over her head, over to. Nobody wants to restart for Neptune. They have possession. Nobody wants it. They're wondering which side of the halfway line they're going to start from. And it's Miles Washington. Washington now gives it to Gary Welch. Gary Welch faced by Fergal O'Sullivan. 4-point game here in Tallaght. If you've just tuned in, it is the Super League final. Garvey's Tralee Warriors against CNS Neptune. Neptune in the ascendancy at the moment. 58-54. Here's O'Reilly for 3. Doesn't go, leaves it short. Again, a great 3-point shooter as well as free throw shooter, but that one certainly wasn't one of his best efforts. Calixty walking backwards into Gary Welch, feeds Donaghy. Oh, tried the bounce pass, turns over the ball. Here's Terradellis. Terradellis sneaking his way to the basket, and Donaghy had to cough up another foul. So we're back to the line again for 2. Terradellis to shoot. Padraig again, it's just. You can't call what's going to happen next here.
No, but all those little things all night have been going Neptune's way. That one with the ball was a touched over the basket. Donny trying to bounce pass there, that didn't work. Could have closed the gap to 2 points. Now they're going to extend it again with 1 second, 1.4 seconds left in this quarter, and if they can extend it out to 6 points here again, that's a big lead going in. And
Terradellis lands the extra. Or the technical 1, and that means He's back for 2. Back for his second from the line, Alex Taradelas lands it. 2 from 2 brings Neptune to 60. Warriors for a length of the court attempt. 1.4 seconds remaining, though there is still time. Not a lot. Is there time for a shot, Padraig? 6-point lead. Neptune now will take this into the final quarter. Nicola Rosso shouting the orders. Will they get it? They need to get it to somebody like O'Sullivan. Here's Rosso all the way. Oh, he's nearly knocked one of the lights. He's hit one of the lights just over mid-court. And it's swinging away there. And it's held, thankfully, for all concerned. If that light came down now, that would have been a different end to this third quarter. But it's actually Neptune who are going to get a restart. Colin O'Reilly. Colin to Owen Quigley from miles out. Quigley! Oh, just to the right of the board. Right of the basket. And the third quarter ends, and it is CNS Neptune 60, Garvey's Tralee Warriors 54. Padraig, your thoughts there as we head down the stretch?
Yeah, it's what we've been saying all night. It's those little things. And Colin O'Reilly again is outside at the referee. And really, I mean, it's time the referees quieten this, because they've called technicals on the Warriors players and they've let him get away with a lot of mouthing. But taking away from that, the Warriors just need to stop making silly mistakes, keep their offense going and get back level. But every time they do, Neptune seem to get that break, go down, get the score and keep that gap out to 6. And maybe the way the last couple of minutes of that quarter win, Warriors will be looking to be down by 6, because it could have been more.
Well, if they're going to do it, if the Warriors are going to do it, they're going to do it the hard way, because they're going to go into a quarter against Neptune, who have certainly not given 6 points away easily at all night, and they're going to go in with that deficit. So they're going to have to find maybe an outside score or 2, maybe, Padraig.
The way it is going, but first couple of possessions again, if the Warriors, they need to get 1 or 2 scores, keep it tight, keep within that maximum 6 points, and they're well in this game.
And here we go. Whether you're listening around the county, around the country or around the world, you're most welcome to Radio Kerry. Here it is, the final quarter action of the Men's Super League final, the InsureMyVan.ie Men's Super League final, Neptune against Warriors. And in the first action of the final quarter, Neil Sabata has managed to draw the first foul within 11 seconds of play, and it is called on Daniel Jacobaitis. And Neil Sabata, in his customary 21 tap for Neptune, goes to the free throw line for the first scoring attempt of the final quarter. Now he flops it with one hand and it doesn't go. Gap remains 6 points. Sabata's second from the line to come. So key moments coming up for this Super League final. What way is it going to go? Sabata's missed the first 2. Now that certainly is a reprieve for the Warriors as they break away down the court. Calixte faced by Washington, gives it to Fergal O'Sullivan, marked by his opposite number, Gary Walsh. Calixte now facing Sabata. Fergal O'Sullivan, tried the overhead reverse pass. I'm not too sure whether I've ever seen one of those before. Didn't go, and it's handed Sabata the chance to stretch the lead. And Sabata says thanks very much and stretches the lead out to 6 points, 62-54.
Yeah, it's hard to be critical of the Warriors' offense, but every time they're just making those little mistakes, stepped out of bounds there again. And
lead out to 8, I should say, 54-62. And just to compound the Warriors' woes, stepping out of bounds as well and coughing up possession. So again, these are the tender moments you'll reach in a game, Padraig, and the swings will come from it. So far more likely to go the way maybe of the lads in blue.
Yeah, it needs to start swinging back to the Warriors down the next couple of minutes, because Neptune are getting all those little breaks and all those little things are going their way. This is a big offense if Warriors need to stop here.
Here's Taradelas now. He's going to pull up for 3. This will be a killer score. Here is Nicola Rosso. Gets it to Calixte. Has to gather himself. And he goes on a mazy run and gets all the way to the board for 2. Sensational. Calixte. No wonder he ended up on the All-Star team first 5, because that's box office.
Oh, absolutely. Quarter goal. But we need more of that from him. And he drew the foul as well. He needs to drive in there and start getting Neptune, start fouling them again.
Absolutely. So Calixte gets to the board. And the score has just been registered on the scoreboard. I thought they weren't going to give it there for a moment, but they certainly are. And Warriors sit on 56 with Calixte to add the extra. And there he goes and does just that. brings Warriors to 57, Neptune 62. The gap is down to 5, 8:54 remaining. Gary Walsh drops it into Miles Washington. Washington now gets Roy Downey. The captain is back in for Neptune. Gary Walsh. Sabata. Now Jamie Dooley will come over and tell us exactly what happened there. The foul is called on Owen Quigley, and it looked like to be some sort of holding right on the baseline, and it was spotted and given. Now Sabata goes for a baseline drive, and he hangs off the hoop afterwards, saying thank you very much indeed, and he'll do that all day given the chance, Padraig.
Too easy get around Ross on the baseline there. There's no way he should have got in there, and again they get that one to open it up.
Calixte goes for the 3. In and out. Sabata's there to pick it up. Leaves it outside for Roy Downey. Roy Downey now in mid-court, leaves it for Sabata. And as we said at the start of the game, Sabata, ever the danger man for Neptune, but Neptune have turned it over. And so have the Warriors, would you believe? Taradella somehow keeps it in. He was right in front of the commissioner's table, nearly went out over it, but somehow kept it in play. And Washington is going to go for a 3. Doesn't go. Fergal O'Sullivan pulls it down out the wing to Calixte. Now 7:55 remaining. Calixte drops it inside. Taradella's nearly carried Rosso out over the end line, Padraig.
And again, how can that not be called, as a technical against or an intentional foul, the way he's done that? But
that was,
there was a rugby tackle you'd see it in the stadium.
That was incredible. The foul is called on 12, Taradella's. Rickard Gittins and Cian Heafy are in. Gittins is back in. Miles Washington will sit down and Gary Walsh will sit down. John Dowling and Colin O'Reilly can have a minute now to sort things out. Padraig, how do you see things shaping up now? 57-64, 7:52 remaining. Your thoughts as we head into the real business end of the game? 2
vital free throws to come that would narrow the gap down to 5 points, and again they just need to keep making those stops, and when they do get a chance in the break, they had that one there that they won the turnover and then they threw the next ball and turned it back over again, and that's killing them. But it's nothing between the sides. They're battling very hard, and it's easy for us up here to be sitting, but these players have given it so much, both sets of squads. It's a long season. They've given so much entertainment, for what they do. We really got to be grateful to be watching basketball at this level, and for the Warriors to be involved in it again, for what the club has done. It's great to see for what they've done for Tralee at all ages.
Absolutely, and in their short history, they've never been too far away from silverware, winning the Champions Trophy in their first and second season, controversially losing the Super League to a legal dispute, but coming straight back after winning it in 2019 and then winning the Cup, of course, this year, and on the precipice of creating history tonight by doing the double. But as I said at the start of the fourth quarter, they are going to have to do it the extremely hard way now, because they trail by 7:52 remaining. The Warriors sitting on 3 team fouls, Neptune on 2, and Kieran Donaghy, Daniel Jacobitis both on 4 fouls, Cian Heafy also on 4 fouls. So there's 1 or 2 players that may not see this game out, Padraig, as well.
I think at this stage now you just give it everything, and if you're fouled out, you're fouled out, and shouldn't be.
Calixte with the restart for Warriors, plays it to Fergal O'Sullivan. Calixte again. Quigley now. Quigley to Calixte. Calixte just fluffing his lines, had to pick the ball off the ground, but gets it back again from Quigley. Here he goes. Rosso goes into the corner. Darrow Hanlon for 3. And if ever the Warriors looked to somebody and said, give us a 3-point score, that was the moment. Cracking score again by O'Hanlon. Bridges the gap, down to 4 it goes. 7:20 remaining. Alex Taradella's now for Neptune, faced by Fergal O'Sullivan. Twisting, turning, bounce pass, Sabata, and he's thrown it out of bounds in front of the Warriors fans and nearly gets the biggest cheer of the night. They're on their feet, Kerry flags waving. Warriors, the drums, they've followed Warriors all over the country this year, and they're here in Tallaght tonight as they were the night of the Cup final, when for the first time Warriors won the Cup. Are they going to win the Super League for the second time and do it on the double with the Cup? That is the question. They're 4 points behind Neptune. Rosso over to Fergal O'Sullivan. Owen Quigley tries to bounce pass, and it looks like we've stepped out of bounds.
It came off the leg of the number 6.
But it did come off Cian Heafy's foot, and it will be a Warriors ball if somebody would like to take it.
They need to find the score here, so that cut that gap to 2, and that momentum is beginning to switch back.
14 still on the shot clock, plenty of time. Rosso drives and gets there for 2. He literally just chested Sabat out of the way. He said, get out of my way, this is my score, and it's down to a 2-point game. Terradellis, Sabata, Cian Heafy. Heafy going round the traps, swaps hands and drops it in off the left hand for 2. And again, it's mile a minute. The gap is back up to 4. 6:18. Fergal O'Sullivan, Darrow Hanlon, just on the back of that 3-point score. He'd love to do it again, and so would the Warriors fans. Here's Calixte. Calixte prowling around the arc, gives it to Rosso. Rosso's going to have a crack for 3. Maybe should have moved it inside, but off the rim it's come, and Neptune comfortably rebound. Roy Downey now holds up his hand to call the play, gives it to Sabata. Terradellis back to Roy Downey at the top of the arc. Calixte, Sabata now. Is he going to float it in with his little manoeuvre? It doesn't go. Little washing machine went in and out. Owen Quigley. Fergal O'Sullivan gets Nicola Rosso at the top of the arc. Calixte now. Rosso on the move. Rosso for 2. Nicola Rosso. Back-to-back scores for the big man. The gap is down to 2, and the Warriors faithful are in full cry here in Tallaght. Gittins faced by Owen Quigley. Gittins takes off. How far is he going to get? Gives it to Sabata. Sabata's momentum has carried him through. He slipped on one of the hoardings behind the Warriors basket. It will be 2 shots when he stands up, but he's in a bit of a heap there at the moment, Neil Sabata, and the Neptune certainly won't want to finish the last 5 minutes of the game without him. Gets to his feet somewhat gingerly there, Padraig. He's not on his feet at all.
No, I think he just went through the hoardings there, and he just probably hit his head maybe off the seats, just pure accidental, nothing in it. But he's standing now, but he looks a little bit worse for wear, so I think Colin O'Reilly's going to come in and he's going to sit down for a minute.
A couple of free throws to shoot. Sabata comes off holding the back of his head. I think the Warriors players are querying that at the moment.
Yeah, he was fouled. So
he was fouled, yeah.
Let's come back.
Emma Perry's holding 2 fingers in the air.
She's letting Colin O'Reilly take the 2 free throws.
And Colin O'Reilly is stepping into the breach now. O'Reilly's record is arguably better than Sabata's. And just at that moment, and maybe commentators curse Padraig, the Warriors fans will take it.
Yeah, and the ball comes back off the rim, and Donny heads it back to the referee. So there's a little bit of smile on the face that momentum.
Donny is one, and O'Reilly just lands one. Donny, he was so keen to get into the paint there, he was balancing on one leg. Here's Calixte. Calixte now to Darrow Hanlon over in the left wing, faced by Cian Heafy. Quigley now. Gittins facing him. Quigley gets high enough for 2. And all of a sudden it's a 1-point game. Quigley again has been scoring well this evening for the Warriors and adds another. And the gap is down to 1. And the drums and barons are in full flight here in Tallaght, Padraig. Roy Downey.
Yeah, and the Warriors are getting joy inside now. Neptune beginning to tire a little bit. They put in a lot of effort. And that's another mistake by Neptune.
Foul. And these are the little moments that matter. Offensive fouls. Gittins thought he was getting to the board. Instead, he swapped. The possession swaps over to Warriors, and right in front of the Warriors bench, Fergal O'Sullivan, the captain, who he will be hoping in a couple of minutes' time will be lifting the Super League trophy. He lifted the cup 9 weeks ago. Is he going to do it again tonight? Here is Quigley.
That's another foul.
And there's a foul called. And again, if the momentum is shifted to Neptune early in this quarter, it's back towards the Warriors now.
Absolutely, John or Alan, and the time to be ahead is at the end of the game. They've never led during the game. This is the chance that they could go into the lead here.
Rickard Gittins pulled for that foul. Into the corner goes Calixte. He would have brought the house down, gives it to Donaghy. Donaghy just spills it, and Gittins says, I'll take that and give it to Cian Heafy, and Cian Heafy takes off. Sabata doesn't go. It's mayhem under the board. Mayhem under the board. What way is it going to go? What way is the commissioner's desk going to point? It's a hot ball, and it is going Neptune's way, is it? Sub's been called. Nicola Rosso standing up, about to come into play.
I think it's a Warriors ball.
It is a Warriors ball.
Some commitment by both sets of players.
Yeah,
Threw their bodies on the line there. 4 or 5 of them on the ground.
Absolutely, yeah. So here we go. Fergal O'Sullivan will sit down. So that's one of the outside shooters sitting down for the moment. The Warriors 5 on the court at the moment. Darrow Hanlon, who's been in a rich vein of form. A couple of threes from him tonight. Owen Quigley, Nicola Rosso, Kieran Donaghy barking the orders from the end of the court. And he's going to drop the ball for Calixte. And off goes Donaghy, the veteran. Is he going to get his hands on the Super League title tonight for the second time with the Warriors? Here's Darrow Hanlon, Nicola Rosso. Oh, he thought about the three from miles out. He decided against it. Gives it to Calixte instead. Calixte, hurdles his way through, gets it to Rosso for 2. And Colin O'Reilly is saying it went off the foot. And a technical foul called on the CNS Neptune bench. So not just, it was basically the reaction of the bench, spearheaded by Colin O'Reilly, and Aaron Calixte will go to the line. The Warriors lead by 1. Rosso dropping in there the 2, and Calixte has the chance to push the Warriors out to a 2-point lead. Misses the opportunity, but the Warriors crucially will get. They will get a restart. Neptune will get a restart through Rickard Gittins. 1-point game. Warriors lead. We can't hear ourselves here in Tallaght. The Warriors faithful are in full cry. The drums as loud as we've heard them all night. Neptune, Rickard Gittins for 2 doesn't go. Momentum swing big time to the Warriors now. 1-point lead.
And that call on the Neptune bench was deserved because that's been going on all night. So,
yeah, Calixte, Quigley, and into the back, Gittins again. He's just given away a foul that prompted that technical. And I'm sure that Colin O'Reilly is going to call a timeout, and he has, Padraig.
Yeah, and again he's gone to the referee. I mean, they really got to stop this and just let him sitting down, because keep calling fouls on him. You can't let a coach keep arguing with the referee all night. But momentum has switched back and the Warriors are in front. It's the time you want to be in front. 3:22, what a better time to take the lead for the first time in the game.
Absolutely. Well, the Warriors have just creeped their way back into this. The 3 by O'Hanlon sparked it off, and they've hit scores. Rosso with 2, Quigley and Rosso again just off the fingertips there, and that foul by Gittins then subsequently sparked off what we've seen since, Padraig. And really, if Neptune are going to gather themselves, they really need to gather themselves now. 3:22 remaining. They're sort of at 6s and 7s the last minute. The Warriors seem to be doing everything right. Neptune seem to be doing everything wrong.
Yeah, I think Neptune are getting very, very tired out there. They're swapping every play. They're bringing in players. They're trying to give fellas a chance to catch their breath because they've put in a huge effort. And I think the Warriors' conditioning is just coming into play now. They seem to be a little bit fresher and a little bit, fitter, and that momentum is swinging their way, and that always helps. So if they can get a score here and open up that to 3 points with under 3 minutes to play, it's a great position to be in.
And again, as well as the game being poised evenly with just 1 point between the sides, both teams on 4 team fouls. So that is going to become a factor the very next foul that's given. And that's going to see what the free throw shooting is like on both sides as we head down the stretch here. Is it history in the making for Warriors, the first Tralee team to do the double of the Super League and Cup in the same season? Or are Neptune going to bridge a 19-year gap and bring the Super League crown back to Cork? Of course, bastions of the game down in Cork that they are, one of the great teams in basketball in Ireland. And nothing would make them prouder than to bring the Super League crown down this evening. But Calixte has got the shot away, it hasn't gone. Neptune get the rebound and Roy Downey's in full flight. He gives the ball away. Just as he got into the paint, Nicola Rosso just literally took it off him and said, okay, if you don't want it, I'll give it to Aaron Calixte, and he's just done that. Calixte now, faced by Downey, goes to Quigley. Quigley fakes and goes. Gives it to Donaghy. Donaghy now to Calixte. Calixte into the corner. Darrow Hanlon for 3. Donaghy. The ball is with Donaghy at the second attempt. Rosso. Oh, he planted his feet and had a good look. Donaghy from the corner. Donaghy has lifted the crowd with an absolute belter from the corner. And if ever a team was lifted by a score, that's that, Padraig.
Yeah, absolutely. Fabulous effort by Donaghy. Rosso didn't have the chance to take it, didn't take it on, gave it out to Donaghy. But they've drawn a foul now. So Neptune will go to the line to come back to within 1 point. But it's beginning to swing. Hopefully the Warriors' way even out. Oh, that's a foot.
Well, we thought it was a 3. It was actually credited as a 2, but it wasn't. It doesn't take away from how spectacular it was. Now, Rickard Gittins is just after pushing Nicola Rosso onto the floor.
Yeah.
Gittins was one to be careful because he is carrying a couple of fouls at the moment. He's just on 2.
But it doesn't matter what went on before, and he certainly pushed him to the floor. And he can't
absolutely
do that,
clearly pushed him to the floor now.
Don't know why the referees need to have a long discussion over that, because
and it's Emma Perry, one of the referees. Jamie Dooley is this side talking to Owen Quigley.
And
Kieran Donaghy is waving his hand up in the air, just saying to the Warriors, and are they reacting? The Warriors fans in full voice.
And it's not being biased, Alan, because that was just blatant. So I think maybe they're trying to see what punishment he deserves, because he should surely go for that. And surely,
well, if a side have a 6th man tonight on court, it is certainly the Warriors. They are absolutely lifting the roof here in Tallaght. Neptune are here in numbers, but they just don't bring the same razzmatazz that the Warriors bring. Now,
intentional.
So the call has been made, and it will see Roy Downey. Is he shooting for 2, Padraig?
If that was the foul before, and then I think after that, the Warriors will get the.
Downey adds the first. Brings the gap back to 2. Here he goes again. Lands the second. And all of a sudden we're back to a 1 point game.
I think the Warriors will come down now and shoot 2 free throws for the.
And now we go to the other end of the court, and Nicola Rosso. Rosso and Calixte, I think, is just wondering whether he has to shoot the ball. He's just wondering whether he has to shoot the ball. John Dowling is querying it with him. He's pointing up the other end, saying it happened a minute ago when Colin O'Reilly took over, and he's just wondering who's going to shoot the ball.
Yeah, again, as in the last time, you'd much rather Colin O'Reilly to shoot it than you'd want Calixte to shoot it here. Again, Colin O'Reilly is on his feet.
He certainly is. The Warriors in a little huddle. The 2 referees talking to head coach John Dowling. Owen Quigley goes over and joins in. Now, we have some sort of agreement. Yeah, 2 shots, the referee says, and Nicola Rosso is the one who'll step up. 1 point game, 2:25 remaining. Both teams on 5 team fouls. Here we go. Rosso lands the first. And it's back to a 2 point game. Can he put a major score between the sides? It would be an important score. Heading down into the real business end. He's left it short.
They have possession.
They have possession though on the back of that, so Warriors will get a play out of this. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Darrow Hanlon now gives it to Nicola Rosso. And in turn to Calixte, to Darrow Hanlon again. Here's Rosso. Darrow Hanlon. Kieran Donaghy didn't fancy the 3. Instead, he goes all the way inside.
That's the foul.
And that is a foul. Donaghy's on the floor. Jamie Dooley points to the commissioner's table and says the foul is called on number 21, Neil Sabata.
On 4
He's
fouls.
on 4 fouls. Now, the Warriors would gladly waive Neil Sabata out of the game if he fouls again. He's on 4 now. It's Kieran Donaghy that's going to go to the line. He'll kill me for saying the veteran, but he is a veteran. He played with Tigers. He was player of the year, going back to his days with Tigers. 1 year after the other, Mike Quirk won it and Kieran Donaghy won it. He's achieved so much in Gaelic football, and what he's achieved in basketball could be crowned tonight with maybe the ultimate. He's missed his second. Donaghy 1 from 2, brings Warriors to 72. Neptune 69. Here's Terradellis. Roy Downey for 3, doesn't go. Donaghy, that man is there again. Calixte, Donaghy, or Roy Downey almost took a piggyback off him down the court there, but Calixte straightens up gives it to Rosso, gets it on the return. Calixte now faced by Downey, pulls up for a floater, goes off the glass, but it doesn't go. Cian Heafy now takes off in mid-court. Heafy runs straight into Rosso. Again, that was so close to an offensive foul, but it's gone the way of Neptune. Rosso, I thought, stood his ground there, Padraig.
Yeah, I would have agreed with you. I'd looked at it that way, but Warriors didn't contest it, so maybe they know what they were doing.
Absolutely.
Every shot is going to be vital, every possession. 1:39 left. This is what basketball is all about, Alan.
Well, you know, all these players have shot the ball, and Cian Heafy, I'm sure he shot the ball 100,000 times down in Neptune Stadium, but he'd love to have put that one in. He's missed the first of his two. 1:39 remaining, Warriors by 3. Heafy can just bridge it to a single score, and he does. With his second, brings Neptune to 70, Warriors 72. In possession now, Quigley. Calixte sneaks away from Gittins, gets it back from Donaghy. Calixte right out in mid-court, counting down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. What's he going to do? He heads off, gets into a bit of trouble. Nicola Rosso's his out ball. Doesn't go. Rosso went for the big three. Cian Heafy takes off for Neptune now. Plays it to Roy Downey. He's going to plant his feet. Calixte just did enough to distract him out of his shot there, Padraig.
Yeah,
crucially.
That's a poor effort though by Neptune. They didn't need to rush that shot for a three-pointer.
Warriors by 2. A minute left. We're inside the final minute here. If you're listening, wherever you're listening, strap yourselves in. Fasten the safety belts, because this is going down to the wire. Aaron Calixte, floater for 2. Calixte has doubled the Warriors' lead in the shadows of the post. 74-70, 47.9 on the clock, Padraig. Just describe what you're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to say the last couple of minutes, Calixte, Rosso and Donaghy's score on the side that we thought it was a 3, it was a 2, has really changed the momentum. It's got the Warriors fans on their feet, and what they've gone and where they've travelled and how they've conducted themselves all during the season. You know, both sides you can say deserve it, but the Warriors, they certainly do deserve it for their fans and for everybody that's behind that club. They're within possibly one stop of pulling this back. And we go back to the start of the game, they were down 10, 12 points. They never let it get to them. They fought their way back into the game. Their big players have come good. It's not over yet. We won't be counting any chickens, but like you said, if you're watching this down in Kerry, now is the time to keep the fingers, toes and everything else crossed.
Everything else you've got crossed, like ourselves here, for 74-70, 47.9 seconds. 9 weeks ago, we were here to see the same sides play out the National Cup. Advantage Warriors that night. They took the Pat Duffy Cup down to Tralee for a week of celebrations. Will tonight be the crowning glory of a double, the Super League crown, to add to their cup title, the first Tralee side to do it. They're a little under 48 seconds away from doing it, and we are on the edges of our seats here. I hope you are likewise. Join us for the last minute of play here, and it's going to be anything can happen, so we're ready for it, and it's underway. Rickard Gittins, Alex Terradallis, here he goes, weaving his way. He runs into Rosso to Calixte. Aaron Calixte for 2. He's brought the lead out to 6. It looks like. One of the drumsticks, the Warriors' drumsticks, has landed on the court, would you believe? It is absolutely off the charts here. 6 points the lead, 36.1 seconds.
Again, the Warriors did exactly what they needed on defence. They stopped Neptune and got the score themselves.
As you said, Padraig, a stop and a score. Calixte unopposed to the board was never going to miss. Now, is it enough? That is the question. 76-70, 36.1 seconds remaining. Donaghy barking the orders, standing in front of Cian Heafy, who will get us restarted. Emma Perry saying subs. Okay, into the action. Daniel Jacobaitis will finish on the court for the Warriors. Darragh O'Hanlon, who's put in a massive shift for the Warriors this evening. It is just going off here in Tallaght. The Warriors on their feet. I'd say some of you at home might even be on your feet. And good luck to you if you are. It's been an absolute sensation. Here's Gittins, gets to the board, doesn't get high enough. And it looks like there will be a foul called. Kieran Donaghy thought he had rebounded and was about to take off. but there is a foul called, and the foul is called on Kieran, and that will be the last action. And he waves to the crowd and salutes the crowd, and the crowd wave back at him as well. What a servant he's been. Sensational on and off the court, Kieran Donaghy. Cannot say enough about him. He has done it all. He has been there, done that. Padraig, a word about Kieran, surely.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, if they do hold out to win this, it's that score in the corner when they were really under pressure. That's the one that I think switched the momentum back onto the Warriors here. And this guy's going to the line. We'll see. He's been on and off all night. If he could miss one of those 32.4 seconds, it's not over. But
it's not over, no. Here he goes again. Sabata one-handed, the unusual style, and he flops the first one in, and he's certainly going to keep the Warriors honest anyway, Padraig.
Yeah, I think John Dolan is just going for a timeout after this. I saw him signalling to the things that to get a play in. If they can get one more score, that might just be enough, but we still have a long way to go in the basketball terms.
Sabata, 1 from 2. Gittins gets the rebound. Roy Downey pulls up for a 3. Doesn't go. And the foul is called. It's gone to ground.
It's a hot ball. It's a jump ball.
It's a jump ball, and it's going.
This one goes.
It's going into Neptune. 8 seconds on the shot clock. 5 is the gap. 25.6 seconds left. Neptune can see out this play, and Warriors will get the ball back. Will Neptune just foul Padraig? What'll they do?
I think they'll try and.
Here they go. This is crucial. They've got to get it out to their shooters. Sabata out to Downey. Here is Tallaght. Doesn't go. Flying through the air is Calixty.
That has to be a foul.
And there is a foul called. Calixty took flight.
It's on Sabata.
And the foul goes the way of the Warriors. Sabata called for the foul. Neil Sabata, and he won't finish the game either. He joins Kieran Donaghy on the subs bench. And Aaron Calixty, who has been an absolute sensation for the Warriors this season. Got his place well deserved as the point guard on the Basketball Ireland All-Stars this week. Calixty points his toe to the free throw line. The gap is 5, 2 free throws to come to cement the lead and cement the win. And the Warriors fans are just in full flight, Padraig.
Yeah, smallest player on the court at the moment wins the rebound amongst all the big guys. Colin O'Reilly roaring at the referees. He was looking for a timeout after the last play and he didn't get it.
Sabata goes the length of the Neptune line. High-fiving, he comes all the way out. I thought he was on his way up to join us here. Aaron Calixty shapes up. 19.3 seconds. This is to add a little bit of loss to the 5-point lead at the moment. Calixty's first shot, straight in.
Well, now it's 2 3-pointers at Neptune.
It's no surprise. Calixty, down at training one night, he stopped at 50 straight free throws in a row, so
one out of one will do us here.
I'll put the curse on him here, I know I will, but I don't mean to. And there he goes, and he even proves me wrong. 78-71, down the corner goes Neptune. Terradellis back outside.
No need
to
foul.
He's going to pull up.
Foul is called. Still.
Foul is called on Aaron Calixty out in midcourt. Owen Quigley embraces Fergal O'Sullivan. The captain will be on the court when this game finishes, and rightly so. Another incredible servant to the Warriors over the last 6 years, Fergal O'Sullivan. His cousin Darren lifted the Super League crown in 2019. Is Fergal, Darren's cousin, going to do the same and lift the league and cup in the same year, Padraig?
Yeah, I think so. I think we did say it. Once the Warriors got that 1-point lead, it just took the wind out of Neptune and they've gone to poor shooting.
Heafy adds 1, and we're counting down here in Tallaght.
They're going to have to start fouling.
9, 8, Jacobitis, 6, Dara O'Hanlon runs around, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
There it is! Garvey's Tralee Warriors are the InsureMyVan Men's Super League champions for 2022. They add it to the Pat Duffy National Cup, and Tallaght erupts the Warriors fans. Oh, the hurling's John Dowling goes over to his wife, Ursula O'Keefe, and embraces. It is a sight to behold for Warriors fans, Padraig.
Yeah, it's a sight to behold for Kerry sport. It's history in the making. It's wonderful to watch it. It's wonderful to be here to see it. But what a way they dug it out. What a way they kept believing in themselves on the line, on the court. They did everything. Neptune threw everything they had at them, and the Warriors came out on top. It's been a wonderful achievement by them.
Well, look at they're lining up here, embracing each other. I'm sure Neptune must be thinking, what do we have to do to beat this crowd in Tallaght? For the second time, the Warriors have turned them over, and for the second time, the Warriors collect major silverware at the headquarters here. It was the Cup at the end of January. It is the Super League crown at the start of April. It is a monumental achievement, the first Tralee team to do the double in the same year. Fergal O'Sullivan embraces Cian Heafy. They know each other well down through the years playing, all in the underage tournaments, and it all has come full circle for Fergal O'Sullivan. He, as captain, is going to lift the Super League crown. His cousin, as I said, Darren O'Sullivan, did it. I'm sure Darren's listening back in Tralee. And my condolences to Darren and Kelly on the week that they've just had, but I'm sure he shares in the delight of the Warriors here tonight. The Warriors faithful have travelled in huge numbers, as they have all season. They're an absolute credit to the team, Patrick.
Oh, absolutely, and everybody behind the scenes. The games night in Tralee are wonderful, and that's done with a huge committee behind the scenes, and everyone is going to share in that. Kieran Donnelly is down with his family at the moment, throwing his kids up in the air. What a performance he has had again, but absolutely, every one of them.
I see John Feehan out on with the table out in the middle of the court. The MVP will be announced first. The MVP.
The first member of the All-Star 5 for 2022 goes to the Garvey Tralee Warriors.
Again, Alan, we have to say Neptune, what a club they've been to basketball all
They're actually
years.
going to give the All-Stars the All-Star Award. So up comes Aaron Calixty to collect his prize from Paul Barrett from Neptune, and that's the second time Paul has been involved in the presentation committee for. I'm sure he'd love to have handed the cup over to his Neptune club mates, Andre Nation from Ballincollig, the second named out in the All-Stars team. So they're naming the first five at the moment, and somebody from Ballincollig is kindly stepping up to accept the award. Andre Nation, an absolute scoring machine from Trade House Central, Ballincollig. The third team up, Cason Harrell as well from Calester. Cason Harrell has the proud distinction of landing 56 points against the Warriors in their game at the IWA in Clontarf when they met. An absolute another scoring machine. And we have two of the Neptune players will be accepting their All-Stars. Neil Sabata, very well received here in Tallaght, and he has been a sensational player for Neptune all season. The Spaniard, very unusual style, very eccentric in his ways, but what a prolific scorer he's been. He is number 4 on the list, and he goes over and shakes hands with Aaron Calixty. And the Neptune captain, Roy Downey, he becomes the 5th of the first 5 players awarded their All-Stars. Now, the focus changes now to the runners-up medals. So the silver medals just about to be presented to Neptune. We might just stay and see what the MVP the last time with the cup. It was Daniel Jacobitis. Daniel Jacobitis won the MVP, and if you remember, he very memorably threw the golden basketball up in the air and frightened the life out of everybody that was watching it because they thought it was made of solid gold. In actual fact, it's not. I can let you in on a little secret. Here's Roy Downey going up for his medal. Gary Walsh follows him.
Again, they've been a credit to basketball all during the year. They put in a huge effort. Just came up short tonight. They'll be bitterly disappointed, but
they will.
You know, they'll certainly, when they look back on the season they had at the start of it, they probably wouldn't have been expected to be in a league final, but they've really put in a huge effort under Colin O'Reilly.
But 2 trips from Tallaght without the glittering prize is 2 tough trips to make. So,
yeah.
But I mean, we have to take hats off to Neptune. They made it very tough out there, and the Warriors definitely won it tonight. Rather than just getting off to a good start as they did in the Cup, they had to wear them down and do it the hard way.
Yeah, and I think when the Warriors look back at that, that's one of the most pleasing things. It wasn't like the Cup, it was a foregone conclusion from the first quarter. They had to dig in so deep all the way down, only took the lead late in the fourth quarter, and when they look back at the video, they'll really will enjoy this league win.
Absolutely, and some of the backroom staff from Neptune also getting their medals. The Warriors prepared now to accept their plaudits, and there's Adam Drummond as well. Adam is confined to a wheelchair after an accident there. He was such a great player for Neptune, and we welcomed him to Tralee. He came down for the game in Tralee in the league, and it was an absolute pleasure to see him. It was great to see him down, and a bigger Neptune fan I don't think you'll come across now, as Paul Barrett and John Feehan there from Basketball Ireland, the new Chief Executive Officer. The gold medals now, and we'll call them out. The Warriors, the first one up, and the Warriors in full cry again. Number 0, Brandon Cotton, the American who's came into Tralee earlier on in the year, has deputised for Aaron Calixty at point guard. Nicola Rosso, number 1, had an absolute monumental game. Aaron Calixty, all-star and sensation, point guard, prolific scorer for the Warriors, playmaker supreme. Ziggy Koletka, number 3. The captain, Fergal O'Sullivan, will get his medal. He has Ava and Fia's daughters with him, so very proud moment for Fergal and his family. There's Ivris Osis as well. He is going to be an absolute sensation in the future. Only 16 years of age. Darragh O'Hanlon. He's won a National League or 2 with UCC Demons as well, so no stranger to this. Keelan Crowe, one of the newcomers, absolutely sensational this year. Kieran Donaghy, no more words, gives his medal to India's daughter and says, you hang on to that. Daniel Jacobitis claps the Warriors fans. James Fernan, Stephen Bowler, 2 of the young St Brendan's players who have made their way through onto the Warriors roster. Here's Owen Quigley. Here's Aaron Fleming. Ron Alksness, number 37. One of the import players as well that settled so well into life in Tralee. Padraig Fleming, number 41. The head coach, John Dowling. What a maiden voyage he's had. He was assistant coach to Pat Price, assistant coach to Mark Bernson, and now assisted by Gareth Moore from St Brendan's and Jimmy Diggins from Imperials. He has landed the double. Padraig.
Yeah, what a job John Dowling has done since he's took over, served his apprenticeship, and it's wonderful to see a young local man coaching at the highest level of the game.
And Kathleen Collins, the team manager, as well, getting her medal. She has just been such a big force behind the scenes. The MVP for the game will go to
Garvey's Warriors Tralee with a high score of 21 points.
Garvey's Tralee Warriors. Number 2, Aaron Calixty, gets the MVP and is mobbed by his teammates. He makes his way forward, shakes hands with Paul Barrett and John Feehan. The golden ball is his. MVP, thoroughly deserved overall. Padraig, he's done it again. Up goes the ball, just like Jacobitis did after the cup. And now the moment that everybody in Tralee, in Kerry basketball, has been waiting for. Fergal O'Sullivan steps forward, and for the second time this year he collects silverware from Paul Barrett from Neptune, and this time it is the Super League trophy. The InsureMyVan.ie men's Super League title is Garvey's Tralee Warriors, and he's going to hoist it, and he's second now. There he goes to the faithful Warriors fans. Absolute scenes here, Padraig.
Yeah, wonderful scenes. That's what it's all about. It's been a long season. They've done it the hard way. Neptune are walking off to their fans very disappointed, but it's a wonderful night for sport, for basketball in Kerry, and for all Kerry sport, and every one of those players. They're certainly heroes tonight.
Absolutely. Well, look, with that and celebrations just really getting into full swing here in Tallaght, we'll sign off from Basketball HQ here at the National Basketball Arena. It is Garvey's Tralee Warriors have landed the InsureMyVan Super League crown to add to their Pat Duffy National Cup. They won it on a scoreline of 78-72 over CNS Neptune. Cue celebrations in Tralee, with great thanks to my co-commentator Padraig Hardnett. Carla was on sound here in Tallaght. I'm going to hand you back. I want to thank Cathal Flaherty and to Pat Kelly for interrupting their programmes with this broadcast, sponsored by Garvey's Tralee Warriors. to Joe and Ivan Hurley and everybody in Radio Kerry Sport. It is celebration time for the Warriors, double champions for 2022.